Welcome back to the MN Talk Show, everybody. Episode 10. Hope you all had a fantastic weekend. Today, we are here with one of my best friends and a phenomenal athlete. Plays Division II football, runs Division II track. Johna Hvinding. Welcome to the podcast, buddy. Normally, it's better because we have Nate here and he can clap with me. I don't look like an idiot. But he's sick today, so he's not going to be here. But welcome to the show, man.
Glad to be here.
Thanks for taking the time. Coming down here. I know you live in Princeton, so it's kind of a hike.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
A long time coming.
Yeah, for sure. So tell me a little bit about, like, your story. Like, the people want to know. Obviously, you go from, Princeton isn't a big school. Mm-hmm. Like, it's small. How do you go from being in Princeton to running track and playing football at Mankato State?
So I started off not really knowing too much about the next level when it comes to sports, going into high school. But the biggest thing for me was work hard. I always tried to be the best at what I was in Princeton, and then throughout my junior and senior year, then it just grew as I got better and better. Coming out of a small town and being recruited to play college football and track it's not easy because you don't get as many looks as those big schools do. Mm-hmm. So you gotta put yourself out there on social media, on Twitter. That's the main source I used, and there's a bunch of different platforms to use, and also other people that can help recruit yourself. You can also put yourself out there on the field and go to camps. That was a big thing for me. I went to a Mankato camp for football and track. The coaches got to see me in person rather than watching a video, so that was the biggest thing for me when it came to recruitment.
Yeah, I know you posted quite a bit on like the Twitter and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. How was that like recruitment process? Did you reach out to coaches? Did they reach out to you?
I would post game stats and film after every single game.
Okay.
And then I would tag 30 coaches, or I would send my film to 30 coaches on Twitter. I would email them, and 5 out of those 30 would get back to me, and then 1 out of those 30 would talk to me after 2 weeks.
Yeah. Was it nerve-wracking being, junior, senior in high school?
I would say, once it came to senior year, and once I, knew, let's say for football instance, it's a week before the game, teams are game planning for me. I'm being double teamed on the outside. It gets a little nervous when there's pressure on you. I'd say track was the more nervous sport for me.
Right.
Track, when it's just you out there, everyone always has these expectations for you to win this or run this time. And it's like, well, if you don't run that time, you think you ran a bad race,
right,
even though you won or had a good day.
Yeah, no, totally get it. And it's like, I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, but as a high schooler, you're mature to an extent, but once you hit that stage of maturity where you have to realize okay, now I'm getting looked at by some bigger schools, I could go on, continue my athletic career and move those things in. How mature did you say you had to be to have those conversations with those top tier coaches and continue that career?
You kind of just have to look at it as a future standpoint, because they're looking at you for a future player in their program, for the next coming years, and you got to look at it as you're kind of buying into their program and what they have. And when I say buying in, you're really devoted to everything they have. Basically, you just act like a professional, even though you're 18 years old, you're a freshman, you're still going in. You have to act like a professional, so they think that when you come in, you're going to take it serious, like a professional.
Right. Did you have I know a lot of the hockey guys, they have advisors and things like that. Did you have an advisor, or was it just you and your parents?
In high school, it was really honestly just me. My parents, I talked to them about everything, and they were informed. But at the end of the day, I did all my film, I did all my stats, I recorded pretty much everything myself.
That's awesome. That's a lot of work, obviously, to go home and after a long day, or even the next day after that, and go over your stats and go over your film and post the best of what you had.
Yep.
So let's go way back here really quick. What got you into football? Because I know you played hockey as a youth, football and track, to be honest with you, because both your parents, did they play track, football?
No, so neither of them played either. So my dad played football in youth, and that was it. He was a big hockey player his entire life.
Okay.
So as you know, as a hockey player, that was it.
Yeah.
Just hockey.
Exactly.
So I joined football in 3rd grade, and me and my 2 brothers, I have an older brother who's 21, and I have a twin brother. Mm-hmm. Me and my brothers played football throughout our whole childhoods, and in the backyard, we'd spend every hour of the day playing football. Every day. So that's what we did back in the day as kids, and then I played from 3rd grade all the way up until my senior year, and I just fell in love with it. I was the fastest kid on the football field, so then I always wanted to run the ball. That was the biggest thing for me as a kid. And then once middle school came, I could join track. And I was like, well, I'm fast. I want to try track. And then it just went on.
That's the story from there, huh? So when did you, so me personally, watching you through high school, you're fast. I liked watching you run track or seeing your highlights running track. Playing football was great as well. But for me, I thought that you were a little bit better at track than football throughout high school. Now that might have changed, obviously. But what were your thoughts on that? Did you think you were better at one or the other, or did you focus on being better at one or the other?
So that question always came. Everyone always asked me what's your favorite, or what are you better at? What do you like more? At the end of the day, I liked them both the same. So track makes me faster for football. Football's a different type of love. It's a different type of brotherhood and family when playing football. And it's a different type of fun for me. It's a whole game, and there's 11 players on the field that go into every single play. Track is a mental sport. It's a team sport for sure, but it's a mental sport when it comes down to your race. You're all alone out there. And when it comes to track, I would say that I was better at track compared to football in an overall aspect for sure.
Right.
Just because it's just you out there.
You don't rely on anybody else.
At the end of the day, you determine if you're going to win the race.
Correct.
And I would say that overall I was better at track just because of, I guess, where I was at in track, the times I was running compared to other people.
They were
football,
phenomenal.
I had the stats out there to say I was good, but then if you move me to a bigger school, well, I don't get to compete with the bigger schools, so it's harder to compare to some of those kids.
Right. Did you have offers from bigger schools, or how many were you deciding from, or how was that decision?
I brought in a lot of Division III offers to play really, in a way wherever I wanted to.
Right.
Division II, I had Division II offers lined up, and then it just, at the end of the day, it came down to where I was going to get scholarships to play and combining them and whatnot.
Right.
I didn't have any Division I offers at all. They were all Division II offers.
Yeah, which is still phenomenal. To even play sports after high school is
a
huge step because 5% of players athletes play after high school.
Mm-hmm.
So it's for you to even just go out and play, even if it's a D2 school, Mankato's a phenomenal football school. So it's is that even a gap between playing a low D1 school and a high D2 school? In my opinion, it's not.
Honestly, our football program over at Mankato is as close as you can get to a D1 program, and it's not even close. We have the facilities, the staff, all the resources that we have. You're going to get it at a D1 school. We have the funding for a D1 school. Mm-hmm. Our program has the option to switch to a D1 program for football.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we haven't. I guess I wouldn't say it's unfortunate because, in my opinion, if you want to move to the next level, you got to win national champions.
Right.
And Mankato, they win the conference. It's almost every year.
Yeah.
Our record since 2008, we've lost 6 games.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, so they have a history of winning. The program has all the resources a D1 program has.
Right.
So it's really close. There's other D1 programs that are way bigger, obviously, but there's also D2 programs that are just nowhere near. It's not even close. Right,
exactly. And that's where I think it's cool for you to play at Mankato, to basically get that Division I experience
it's
without being Division I. Yeah, for sure. No,
really
I totally get that. So, how was your personal life growing up? Did you grow up in the slums? Were you benefited in ways, or what was that kind of like? Was it life hard, or was it fairly easy?
I grew up in an awesome family. My childhood growing up was awesome. We spent a lot of time traveling as a family. We loved to travel, whether that was traveling around Minnesota, hiking around Lake Superior, going on vacations as a family, camping in the summer. And then another thing that was big for us as a family was sports. Having 3 brothers in a family, you already know, all of us played sports throughout youth, so every weekend it was to the basketball tournament, the hockey tournament. It was always sports growing up. So for me, sports and travel have kind of shaped out my future, I guess, when it comes to what I plan on doing and like doing. As far as my brothers go, the bond couldn't be better growing up together.
Yeah, with a twin brother, dude, how was that? Talk about that, because it's rare.
When it comes to sports, it's the most competitive you can get.
Yeah,
it's the most competitive you can get because you have a brother, a twin,
Competing
and it's
against
You're
yourself.
the same person. You got to win all
Yeah.
the time, right?
Agreed.
So I mean, it's always a competition. It doesn't matter if you're putting the dishes away, you're playing basketball. It's whoever's going to do it faster, whoever's going to win every day.
I'm guessing there's some sort of like level of respect like you have for one another, right? Like, do you ever feel like you're competing to like make them feel bad, or you're just competing to win?
I mean, there's been days where it's like you got to make him feel bad today. There's been days where it's I'm going all out today, but we've competed in every single thing you can think of, and at this point we know what each other's are good at.
Right.
So you can respect level of playing in certain areas for sure.
Right. But you're going to target what they're weak at, so you can beat them
for sure.
right?
And at the end of the day, like when it comes to competition, we can be cool at the start, but by the end of the competition, it's someone's going to win.
Yeah.
Someone's going to want to win.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, that's awesome. Yeah, because obviously I knew you had a twin brother growing up, and like I knew a little bit about you guys. But like, how was life like in school? I guess having a twin brother, was it difficult, or like did people I guess like make fun of you? Obviously you're a star athlete, so that kind of helps as well. How was his life like having a star athlete as a brother?
Honestly, so Isaac was always an athlete as well.
Mm-hmm.
But he was a little bit smaller, a little bit. I guess I wouldn't say less athletic. I would say just different. He was a little bit, I guess, slower, quieter.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say. He was still a phenomenal athlete. He gave up most of his sports by his junior year, but still played sports and lifted every day. He loves it. He watches football and all that more than anyone else.
Yeah.
He loves it, but he kind of gave it up throughout high school just because he wasn't always that starter. He wasn't always that A-team guy.
For sure.
But he still loved the sport, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's just like, yeah, you can still love something, but it's like if you realize like, you know, you're maybe not going to get that starting spot, it's like why waste your time at that point? But it's like if you still love it, like you can still enjoy it and do other things.
Oh, for sure. Also, and he almost like just accepted it, and he's never had a bad attitude about it.
Yeah.
Like he's always supported me. He goes to all the games. He always says good job after something. Like he's always been so supportive.
Yeah, good for him. What does he do now? Does he go to school?
Yeah, so he goes to Mankato with me.
Oh,
so
sick.
My twin brother came with me actually. So we live on the same floor.
Okay.
Different wing, but same floor. So it's really cool to have him there because I get to see him all the time. If I need something, he can help me out. He works at Walmart down there as well.
Okay.
And one night I had to go jump his car, so I mean it's just nice to be there for each other.
Yeah, and it's nice because like you said, you're still on the same floor, but like you're not living together, so you don't feel like you're still at home, and you still get that college experience, I guess, to like live with somebody else and
Honestly,
do it that way.
I see him once a week.
Yeah.
Like, unless I try to see him, I'll see him once a week, maybe walking.
Yeah.
Like
that's nice.
I live on the same floor, and I don't even see him walking in the hallway. Like
yeah. Not bad.
You would think, like, honestly, originally I was like, I don't want to go to the same college as my brother. I want to branch out. Like, I want to be fully new start. And then he wanted to come, and honestly, I was like, like, are you sure? Are you sure?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, I love it. Like, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome to be.
Wouldn't have asked for anything else, huh?
Yeah.
God, that's awesome. So, with you having brothers and stuff growing up, were there ever like any issues? Because I know like Jack, your older brother, obviously he's on a different path with, you know, his hunting, fishing, all that other stuff, working a day-to-day life. Was that ever something that like you saw yourself doing instead of going and playing sports?
I would say that I didn't see myself going straight out of high school into just a day-to-day job.
Right.
I always wanted, right after, for sure, starting junior year, I always wanted to play after high school. I was like, I'm gonna work and I'm gonna play after high school. I was like, this is what I want to do. I want this experience, and overall, that was my thought, and so that's what I worked for. I worked through high school. I had many different jobs. Senior summer leading into college, I worked every single day concrete in the summer. Yeah. So then that summer, I was like, well, I'm not going to do concrete.
Yeah, concrete sucks. My life, so, good pay, but like,
so we're going to continue the route I'm doing, and that was where my thought was.
Yeah, I love that. Was it a hard decision for you to make, or was it fairly simple, like knowing that you can go play sports? And
when it was time for me to head off to college and that date was coming, I didn't feel nervous.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like it was wrong. I honestly just. It was the plan all along, so I just felt right with it.
For sure. So now that your freshman season of, you know, Division II football is up, what are your like look backs on it? What were your wins? What were your losses? Like, what did you struggle with the most as a freshman?
I'm gonna say right off the bat, the hardest thing was adapting to the next level. it's way faster than I could have ever experienced, or I can honestly prepare someone for.
Mm-hmm.
You get in there and you're running right away. You get to the first day of practice and there's a playbook this thick that you've never seen before. High school, I have a playbook, but I don't look at it. I knew the plays for the last 2 years. I didn't have to think about it. The playbook's huge. You get to the first day, and they tell you a play like you're supposed to know it.
Right.
And then, I mean, obviously someone told me the route or whatever I had to run, but, I mean, those first 2 weeks of camp, I got back after practice, and I spent an hour in my playbook every single day.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have a choice. I'd go to practice, and they'd say something new. I wouldn't know what was going on.
Exactly.
And so it's so hard to be on the football field and play full speed when you're not fully confident it is in what you're doing. So adapting and learning at first was the hardest. And then once I adapted and learned to my wide receiver position that I was there for, I got jumped over to the defensive side of the ball. So then I have spent the rest of the season working towards that defensive side of the ball.
Okay. How big of a change was that? Because you played on the offensive side your whole high school career, correct?
Yep.
So how hard is it to go from being a wideout to being cornerback or linebacker or something like that?
So I played both in high school.
Yep.
Right. But I didn't play defense or cornerback as serious as I do now. And switching it's really hard to compare it to anything else. Switching to cornerback, as a receiver, you kind of get a little ins and outs of what would you do as a receiver. So
you get a little bit of a hint about what they're going to do.
So I have some knowledge of that. And then playing football, you got to learn how to read defenses. And then so once you learn how to read defenses, playing cornerback's a mind game. And then you have to have the physical aspect of it.
Right.
It's really hard to... Your receiver's running at you, and he wants to make you miss, and he knows what he's doing. You have no idea what he's doing, but you have to guard him.
Right, you have to react.
Let him go.
Yeah, that's definitely a hard thing to do. Would you say it's more mentally challenging or mentally pressing to be on the defensive side of the ball than the offense? Yeah,
I find myself in a way there'll be days where I don't enjoy it as much because defense, mentally you're frustrated. Mentally you're frustrated because you just got beat on a route.
Yep.
You just got beat on a route again. Or someone just beat you on a 60-yard touchdown. You have to watch them run all the way down the field. On the offensive side, if you drop a ball, it's drop that ball. I'll get back to it. But you didn't just burn a 60-yard touchdown, or someone didn't just break your ankles.
Right.
On the offensive side, you kind of get to be that guy.
Right, and I feel like that only happens typically it's 4th and 3 and you're wide out, you have to catch this ball. There's a minute left on the clock. If you drop it, it's you get kind of that same feeling. But on defense, it's now you just let your team down. You just gave up 6 points. How do you it's hard to bounce back off of that. Do you find yourself playing a little bit better at defense, or do you still feel like your offensive position is a little bit better?
My skills at the offensive side are definitely a little bit better right now.
Yeah.
But I would say right now, my attitude and effort on defense, I'm working harder than ever because this is something, for the most part, still somewhat new. This next level coaching and stuff I'm learning, I haven't learned in the past, so I'm definitely putting in a lot more effort to try to get better.
Yeah.
And as of now, I would say my offensive skills are better, but
as they should be. I mean, you just played it for the last 4 years of your life, so it's that's how it should be. So, couple questions here before we have a little bit of fun, but what does your day-to-day life look like as a college student? Because it's all new to you. You're still a freshman, right? You're just finished up your first semester. How is everything going at the college level? Is it different from high school? The exact same? Everything you expected, or totally different?
It's totally different. Living on your own is awesome. You spend too much money, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so a day-to-day. On an average day of football with classes and a lift, I'd go to class at 9 a.m. I'll have a 9 a.m. math. And then after that, I'll have a 10:30 class. And then usually I wouldn't have more than 2 or 3 classes on a day. So I'll be done with class at 11:30. I'll go to lift at 2. And then right after that, we have practice at 3:45. And then we'd practice till I'll be out of the locker room and just after 6.
Yeah.
And then for freshmen, or unless you have a GPA under 2.5, we have what's called study tables.
Okay.
So you have to have 8 hours of study tables a week.
Really? Okay.
So you'll attend those anytime you want between 6 to 9 p.m. So then after practice, I'd get dinner and go study.
Yeah.
And then if we didn't go to study tables, we'd have film review. Every day you have a film meeting. Usually they're either mornings, afternoons, or evenings, depending on when your coach schedules it.
Right. Gotcha. Dude, that's crazy. It seems super simple, like the way you laid it out.
Yeah.
But was it like challenging for you to get used to or get in the rhythm of things?
Definitely challenging because when I first got there, it was just football. So
Right.
we just had camp. There was no school. There was no one else on campus, just the football team
Right.
for almost 3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And basically, your work week for the football camp was 40 hours a week.
Okay.
You would have lift. You would have roughly 4 meetings a day, whether that was team meetings, you'd have position meetings, film review, playbook review. You're going to have 3 to 4 meetings a day during camp, and then you're going to have practice, and you're going to have a lift. And that's pretty much all you do for 3 weeks straight is you sit in the meeting room, you go to football practice, and you lift weights. That's about it.
And then all of a sudden, 60,000 other kids show up, and then school starts, right? Oh, my God, that's crazy. All right, well, I got a couple questions for you, and this is something new that I wanted to try because I did it on a podcast I was on, and I figured it'd be fun just to have another segment in here. Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna say 3 different topics, and I want you to rate them overrated or underrated, and then explain why briefly.
Okay.
Sound good? All right. The Minnesota Vikings.
Minnesota Vikings. Okay, so I'm gonna start with overrated.
Okay.
Because some people want us to win out and win the North, right? Everyone does, but we're just not going to do it this year. Our quarterback, we can't figure it out on offense.
Dude, we have Nick Mullins starting Sunday.
We can't score a touchdown. Our defense, I won't lie, our defense hasn't let up a touchdown since November.
Yeah.
Our defense, granted it's December, not too late in it, but our defense is playing really good the last few weeks, but we need to score a football to win a game.
Right.
Overrated.
Yeah. I wouldn't disagree with you there. I think you're on the right path with that. The way you explained it's fucking solid.
In a way, there's not too many people like really rating the Vikings super high.
Right. Besides the people in Minnesota that expect them to win the North every single year.
We're not going to
What's the reality of that, dude? Anyways. All right, next one. Drake.
Perfectly rated. He's the greatest rapper of all time,
but
right?
Is he overrated or underrated?
I would say underrated for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of people hate on Drake, but honestly, Drake's lyrics and just the way he's made music for the last decade, he's one of the best to do it for sure.
I would agree. What's your favorite song from Drake? Just off the rip.
Just off the rip, Pluto to Mars. It's
okay.
In his new album For All the Dogs.
I've never listened to it. I've heard a couple of songs from that album. I'm not a big Drake fan. Not that I don't like him, but it's just like I don't know. Sometimes he's on my radio, sometimes not.
Drake can get me hyped. Drake can be chill. It's a good.
That's a good mixture of everything. All right, last one. I didn't tell you this one beforehand, so you don't really know. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift.
Oh, overrated. My girlfriend would know. I'd say this right away. I'm not a hater.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's wrong to be a hater.
Agreed.
I think it's cool. I think it's interesting, but at the end of the day, it's all this Taylor Swift hype and now connecting into football and all these people acting like Travis Kelce is now famous because of Taylor Swift and all this stuff. I can't get behind it.
Like,
overrated.
dude, Travis Kelce was a Hall of Famer before Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Like, how? Oh my God! And I was talking to my assistant about this, or our team assistant about this earlier, and she's a huge Taylor Swift fan. Like her background is Taylor Swift. Like went and watched that movie like 20 times. But it's like, how come you weren't a big fan before this year?
Right.
Like all of a sudden Taylor Swift blows up. Now you're like the biggest fan ever.
Right. And I see the girls buying Chiefs gear and stuff, and I'm like, what are you doing?
You don't even know who Travis
I get
Kelce
it. Like,
is.
good for you to pick up like football, and now you like it too, just like Taylor. But like, a real original, right?
Yeah,
like,
come
now
on.
we're just following.
Yeah, exactly. Well, now that just sparked a question in my head. So like, would you say you're more of a follower or I guess like a leader? And I feel like that's a pretty straightforward question, but I guess in general, like throughout your whole life, have you been a follower or a leader?
I would say leader.
Yeah.
And I've always tried to be a leader for sure. I like to, I guess, be a leader because I enjoy, I guess, helping people or like trying to teach people new things. So when it came to sports, for instance, like I would help people set their blocks. Like these new kids coming in, I'd coach them up. Like there's 80 kids on a track team and there's only a few coaches in high school, especially at our small school. So like all these kids, they don't know much. So my goal right away was just be a leader, help all these kids, teach them. And that came with football, track, a lot of things in general.
Yeah, just life. Yeah. So a couple more questions and we'll kind of wrap it up here in the next 5 minutes. First question is, obviously you're going to college. What are you majoring in and what are your goals to do after college? Is it to play football, run track? Like, What are your goals after college? Because college ends.
Yeah. So main goal, main reason I'm there, one thing I want to be a pilot.
Okay.
I'm studying aviation, and my plan is to graduate after 4 years, become a commercial pilot. I'd like to work for 5-ish some years, gain some hours, gain some experience, and then move on from the the professional industry and move into the private industry.
Okay.
Fly private jets, become a private pilot.
Super cool.
When it comes to the sports aspect, right now, I'm using the sports as a tool for life right now, to grow me, to make me better, experience things for fun. I'm going to do it as long as I can while being a pilot, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So if that means I only play football for another season, well, then I'll only play football for another season. But if I can make it work for a long time and an opportunity unfolds to, I don't know, something bigger, I mean, you just never know.
Yeah, so you're just going to roll the dice and kind of see what happens, but your plan is to be a pilot.
At the end of the day, the main goal is flying.
So
getting lessons done.
I told myself if I was to go to college, I'd be a pilot because it's super fucking cool. Yeah. Why did you want to become want to study that?
Because I'm going to spend a lot of time studying books, right? Spend a lot of time doing homework and assignments, just like everyone else. But I can also spend my time flying. I'm going to work and study flying a plane. I'm going to go to the airport twice a week, and I'm going to fly. Right. And it's going to be a 2-hour lesson, and that was my class. Would you rather sit in a business class and learn how to do marketing, or do you want to go fly an airplane?
Yeah, fly an airplane, 100%,
exactly.
Dude.
That's why I made my choice. And then I thought about it. When I'm 45 years old and I got to go to work, what do I want to do? Well, I want to go sit in an airplane and fly to Florida and golf for 4 days.
Super sick.
Yeah.
Are you nervous to fly for the first time? Because you haven't done it yet, right?
So I've done intro flights.
Okay.
So I've done intro flights to my private certification.
Right.
And then I start all my lessons in ground school this January. So then I'll be a pro flight student coming January.
Okay.
Nervous, yeah. During my intro flights, when you first grab the yoke, so a steering wheel in an airplane, and you make your first turn in the air, it feels weird.
Yeah.
And the wind on the airplane, you're flying a smaller jet, the wind takes you.
You can feel everything.
A small little breeze, it's like, whoa, like your whole plane jumped. And it's a feeling that when you're actually behind the yoke of the airplane, it's a feeling that you've never had before, sitting in the back of a jet, flying to Florida or something. Yeah. Like, it's just, it totally hooks you. Like, it's a whole different feeling when you're controlling it in the air.
So would you say that you feel like every part of the plane more than just like sitting there and like, going for a ride?
Especially on smaller ones.
Oh, because they just get pushed around more.
I mean, you turn it to the left and you're turning right away.
Every
single tiny little centimeter you move, like you can feel it just a little bit in the plane.
It's like power steering on steroids.
Yeah.
God, that's awesome. And then we got one more big one for you. As a human being, actually, I want to do two more, okay? As a human being, if you could go back and tell yourself freshman year what to do different or what you would keep that Johna Hvinding as a freshman away from, what would you tell him to make him succeed as a grown man?
Honestly, I would say a very consistent goal. Like a very consistent goal of what you want to chase and achieve. Manifest what you want. Like if you want to manifest to be a D1 athlete and you want a full ride scholarship, you got to do that. Start that sophomore year and never let that thought leave your mind and work towards that. I would say that like I never really had big like hopes and dreams of being that full ride D1 scholarship athlete, but I feel like I wish I would have my freshman and sophomore year. I wish I would have dove into that and like really bought in right away.
For sure.
Right away.
Definitely hard, and I see that a lot with a lot of the younger athletes is like they have goals, but their goals change every single year, and then they can't stay consistent to what they want.
Just don't wait.
Love that, yeah.
Do it right. If you think about it and you really want it, go do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Wake up and do it tomorrow. There's no reason you shouldn't.
Yeah, me and you have that same mindset. It's like if we have something in mind, we're going to do it right now. I don't want to wait for it. And then the last one is, where do you see yourself now, 5 years from now? You're out of college, like, obviously flying planes. Do you have a family? Are you married? Do you have kids yet? Like, where do you see yourself being in 5 years?
In 5 years, I hope to own my own place for sure.
Okay.
And whether that's a house or not, I guess this might be a tricky conversation for a realtor here, but I would maybe have a house, or I'll have an apartment near the airport and then buy a duplex and rent it out so I can have some side income.
Yep.
Because my plan after I graduate is to be hired the day of graduation.
That's sick.
Join a branch program, whether that's Delta or Sun Country, and get hired on the airline the day I graduate.
That's cool.
So then I have a job waking up the next morning and I'm bringing in a paycheck
right.
within my first month out of college, and then those loans you can start paying off right away.
Right. And a lot of the issues is with those college students is they'll wait, you know, they're 6 months or a year or whatever it is to like actually get hired.
Yep.
Where it's like if you can get yours planned out to like you're hired right away after graduation, boom, you're good to go. Like
exactly.
It's perfect. Would you want to stay in Mankato or would you want to stay somewhere closer to like, you know, International Airport?
Honestly, it's not going to be Mankato.
Right.
And whether it's the Minneapolis airport or not, I can be stationed anywhere, wherever they need a pilot at an airport. And honestly, I'm not against the idea of going out to the Denver airport or going out to Florida and spending 5 odd years working at a different airport. I'll pack my stuff up and go see a different journey. Why not, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What else do I have to do?
So with that being said, obviously you have a girlfriend. She goes to school in LaCroix.
Lacrosse,
Wisconsin. Jesus Christ, whatever. Yep. Is it there's a LaCroix, correct? Or is that LaCroix?
Honestly, not sure. It's lacrosse, I think.
Anyways, either way. Is she open to moving with you, or like would she be staying back home, or have you even talked about it yet?
Honestly, it's been chatted about, and not quite fully wanting to just pack up and go. But honestly, she loves to travel.
Right.
At the end of the day, she would come with
probably
for sure.
would.
She would love to experience something else for a while, for sure.
Yeah, I love that. Well, awesome, dude. I appreciate you coming out here and taking 30 minutes. And I would love to do a part 2 with you with Nate here because he missed out on a pretty fucking good podcast.
Oh, for sure. I'd love to chat with him.
Yeah, and he's gonna edit all of this and watch it through anyways. But like, it would be cool. He's always got stupid questions to ask. So like, he would have loved to.
Yep.
But if you guys always want a part 2, just let us know and we'll get you back on a part 2. And hopefully it'll be out in the cooler, better looking podcast studio with more people. So,
for sure.
Well, I appreciate you, dude. And we'll catch you later.
Thank you.